Why Brendan Fraser wasn't in George of the Jungle 2. Hey guys, today we're going to know why Brendan Fraser wasn't in George of the Jungle 2. Let's get right into it. Contrary to popular belief, the 1990s were not only about oversized tees, perfect width jeans, flannels and choker necklaces. They were also about Brendan Fraser. Okay, and some serious social and musical movements, but also about Brendan Fraser. Fraser exploded onto the scene in 3 short years, beginning in 1992, with a string of hits that included Les Mayfield's Encino Man, Robert Mandel's School Ties, Alec Kashishian's With Honors, Michael Lemon's Airheads, and Michael Ritchie's The Scout. The midpoint of the decade had no effect on the star's rise, and he continued to impress casting directors and audiences alike well into the early 2000s. Fraser transitioned from rom-com Romeo in Blast from the Past and Bedazzled to genuine franchise star in The Mummy and The Mummy Returns in 1999 and 2001 respectively. Despite this, there was one franchise where the actor only lasted one film, George of the Jungle. When Disney's George of the Jungle 2 debuted in 2003, a 2-year gap between a film and its sequel wasn't unheard of. The 3 films that comprised the first half of the Terminator franchise, for example, were released 7 to 12 years apart. According to the current laws of movie money physics, the sequel should have been at least as successful as its predecessor. Instead, it was a widely panned blunder that received only a direct-to-video release. Brendan Fraser's presence in the film would have dramatically changed its fate, so how did lookalike Christopher Showerman end up taking the reins? Or rather, the swinging jungle vine from the star. As evidenced by the film's first joke, the studio was clearly aware that Fraser's absence would be problematic. When the narrator and viewer first see the character in the film's opening scene, he reacts with surprise and confusion. Studio too cheap to pay Brendan Fraser. Showerman's George says to the camera. It's a cute and plausible explanation, but it's not quite the reality of the situation. Fraser, it turns out, was not replaced because he demanded too much money. The actor simply refused to return for the sequel, forcing Disney to find a replacement. Almost 2 decades ago, an aspiring Christopher Showerman told Movie Hole about his simple George of the Jungle 2 Cinderella story. When asked how he got the job, he simply stated, "I auditioned," but went on to elaborate. He explained, "Once it was apparent that Brendan wasn't going to star in it," he then added, "George 2 was drafted up as a DVD premiere. It was almost a full year after he turned down the job that I signed up as the new George." In other words, Brendan Fraser was replaced because the star, who had appeared in both the genre-altering The Mummy and The Mummy Returns in years since George of the Jungle, simply didn't want the part. Though the internet is littered with amusing but unverifiable explanations for Fraser's decision, including this oft-quoted anecdote from Jim Hill Media, Showerman's interview suggests that Fraser's decision to pass on the film was not out of the ordinary. Furthermore, it appears that Fraser, who is currently experiencing a renaissance, harbored no ill will toward his jungle stand-in. Showerman revealed to the outlet that he once left a note for Fraser while the two were working in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, the actor did not leave any contact information for Fraser, and when original George finally met sequel George at a charity event, he expressed regret for being unable to respond to Showerman's note. Showerman told Movie Hole, "He is a really wonderful man." Weirdly, it seems like a full circle moment for Brendan, because what happened in 2003 happened again this year. A lengthy hiatus hampered his rise. The actor cited injuries sustained while performing stunt work as impeding his ability to keep up with the action-heavy projects he was working on at the time. His life eventually changed when his mother died. He divorced, and the actor revealed that he was sexually harassed in the early 2000s. All of this did not deter fan support for the actor, which skyrocketed when he announced he would be returning to film, and grew even more when it was revealed that he would play DC villain Firefly in a Batgirl film, a role that unfortunately will not see the light of day. Brendan has been keeping his head down and having roles in television and smaller movie productions, so fans were looking forward to his appearance in Batgirl as part of his powerful comeback to Hollywood. Fans can still see Fraser on the big screen thanks to the release of The Whale, Behind the Curtain of Night, and The Killers of the Flower Moon. But those films do not appear to have the action that fans are accustomed to seeing from the former Hollywood action star. Although little is known about the now cancelled Batgirl film, it was revealed that Brendan Fraser was set to play Garfield Linz, also known as Firefly. Firefly is a former special effects artist or pyrotechnics expert who became an arsonist. The cancellation of the film, with the majority of the film completed and a whopping $90 million budget spent on it, shook the internet, and many, including Brendan Fraser, expressed their disdain for the film's abrupt end due to the Warner Brothers Discovery merger. Fans were quick to point out that the Batgirl film, which was also supposed to feature Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman for the first time since the 1990s film, was cancelled, but despite the controversy surrounding Ezra Miller, the Flash film is still set to be released. That's all for today, and we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.